TV from a mental health perspective. This is not really a topic for this page, nor will it be a continued topic for this page, to be honest with you. And when I made my video yesterday, I did actually say in that video that that was going to be my only video on the topic. So this is a follow-up to what I said yesterday. And just because I have to make this very clear, because I know people will want to take what I'm about to say and flip it all over the place, turn it into something that it's not. So I'm going to be very clear. This is not a debate, a political debate video at all, nor was yesterday's. Yes, I did briefly share a few opinions on a few things. Hi, Lisa. Yeah, I did give a few opinions on a few things, and I know that those things can be triggering depending on who you support. However, hidden within that, and when I say hidden, I mean nobody was listening to this part. I didn't feel strongly about either candidate, and that's the same way that I felt in 2020 as well. I didn't feel excited in 2020, and I didn't feel excited in 2024, which is now. There's a reason why I mostly don't get into political debates, and it's not because of not having opinions on what's going on in the country. It's not because of not knowing what's going on in the country. It's not because of not having the information. It's because to debate somebody, I feel like to properly have a debate with somebody, you and that person have to start out with a clean slate. I don't want to debate you and the 375 other people that have spoken to you that I said something that was mildly similar to those people, and then I'm debating against something that I didn't actually say myself. Like, it's amazing if you've seen my track record of occasionally throwing generally fairly neutral opinions into the middle of these discussions and then being like, you don't know your history, you don't know your policies, you don't know anything about what's happening. I'm like, okay, so there's an assumption before we even started the conversation that I don't bring anything to the table in terms from an intelligence standpoint, research. So I'm going to spend most of the discussion trying to prove to you that I know the topic that I'm talking to you about. And that makes me angry. And then we're not even talking about the topic. So then when I think about the actual debates that I watch on TV, especially the ones in the last 8 to 12 years, man, they're hard to watch because that's how the debates are going as well. There's something about running the country of the United States, right? You're the president of the United States. It's a hard job. Donald Trump said that himself. He said it's the best job in the world, and he said it's the hardest job in the world, and this is the greatest country in the world. All right. At my job, right? My job is kind of more black and white. Yes, there is some gray areas. There are some things that are just based on my personal opinion, discretion, things like that. But it's pretty black and white. I think that people are just basically money hungry, and that's the reason why things always go left at my job, and a lot of other people's jobs. Sometimes the thing that I hate about watching these debates, sometimes the thing that I absolutely hate about watching these debates, can we ever acknowledge, and I don't mean we as in any specific person, but like, can we acknowledge that a president can go into a volatile situation and come up with a plan? Because, and it's not just them, obviously it's a team of people, because no president just works alone and makes all the decisions by themselves. The president and their team can come up with a plan to solve a problem, and then it just doesn't work. Like, you go into this volatile space with all these different moving parts. Like, people talk like it's ABC 1, 2, 3, how to end a war. I saw a video yesterday where somebody was talking about Trump was going to go into these negotiations and like end the war that's going on in a day. And I'm like, really? How are you going to do that? It's like when politicians, I think Obama made promises to pull back a certain amount of troops. It might have been Obama. They all blend together to me at some point. But it was like, oh, take out Iraq and Afghanistan by this time. But how exactly do you do that in an active war? It's not that simple, right? People talk about how they don't like DACA and how that should be eradicated. There's an alternative plan. Plans always sound great before you start implementing them. I have never seen any plan in my life where somebody just creates the plan. This plan is perfect. And then they start implementing the plan, and the plan works perfectly. And that could be with big things and with small things. And when we're talking about huge things like what is going on in this country, there is no quick answer, and there's no president that's going to get in here and find all the solutions. So I find that people are more rooting for the person / the party more than policy versus policy. That's my problem. That's my biggest problem. It's not even necessarily a Trump thing. You could replace Trump with any Republican. You could replace Kamala Harris with any Democrat. And the people are fighting each other rather than fighting for the policies to best serve what is best for the rights of this country. That's how I feel about it. Hi, Marshall. Like, there's a saying that's like, what happens if people realize that the left wing and the right wing belong to the same bird? I like having casual conversations while looking things up on my phone together. I really want to learn more. That's how I got how I am now. Not in a day, but why is that completely unbelievable? You know why it's unbelievable? Because there's so much money tied into these wars. That's why it's unbelievable. And war is business. War is big business in the United States. Here I am defending something I didn't say. That's what I was doing earlier when you said, "Oh, I don't agree with any of your points." I was like, "Wait." I looked back at the video. I was like, "Where did I make those points?" Like I mentioned some of those things, but I actually didn't really take a stance on any of those. It also depends on what the motivation of the conflicts are too, that we are not privy to. That's the other part of it. That's the other part of it of why I was asking about definitive solutions to things that we don't have a full set of information about. I know that there are better resources than others. Obviously, these major news networks, the main media networks, they don't have, they're agenda driven. They're not really based on reporting the news accurately. It's giving the pieces of it that get people upset, that get people to tune in, that get people to debate. That's so I know that there's better sources than others, but at the same time, that's like saying that about how business is run, because America is a business, as much as nobody wants to say that. I mean, that's one thing that I always give Donald Trump, is that he understands the business aspects, the financials, because so many of these things are tied into the financials. He understands that very well, and he knows how to break things down in a way where people are mostly focusing on how can we keep more money in here, when there could be 1,000 different things. Like, I remember there was a time when he was standing next to Lil Wayne, Kanye West, this person and that person. We were talking about reparations. Like, what happened to those discussions? They're only relevant when an upcoming election is coming up, and then it's like they don't exist. New group of leaders, and then like the history of the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. Not what's in the history books, but like what happened in the actual history, where they flipped around at one point. I mean, there's much to that. I'm not even going to glance over that, because that's not a thing for most people. New group of leaders that has taken office are all Democrats who turn Republican. That's what I'm trying to say. It's all corrupt. That's what I'm trying to say. See, that's the part that we can fundamentally agree to disagree on, is that some people feel that one party is corrupt and another party is not. I will never in life believe that. Anything that any party says, Democrat or Republican, I'm always going to challenge it, and I'm always going to look it up. I'm not going to believe that one party is here as my savior. Like, everything that you say is well-meaning and has good intent. Like, nobody in the whole House and Senate or the president lies to me. I'm not going to believe that. I just don't believe that. I never will. In life, I use the term trust but verify, but in politics, I use the term don't trust anybody. Look it up. And don't just look up what it says in the policy. When the policy is actually put into place, look at what's actually being done. Look into whether it's actually being followed and executed as it's written out. Because a lot of things sound good and look good on paper. And the other part is, someone can put a policy in place and it fails. And then we get into these debates and they're like, this person is a liar. This person is responsible for the worst recession in the history of the country. This person is responsible for putting the most money into, what's it called? I don't know why I can't think of the name, but like the most money into the environment. I can't think of the name, but making everything green in the environment, and we're wasting money on this, right? These are all business deals. Like, let's not get it twisted. And actually, to even become president, these people make a lot of deals behind the scenes. I'm going to invest in this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to put money towards this. I'm going to promote that in exchange for getting in the seat. Hi, Cass. So, I know I said a lot, but I didn't say a lot. But I did say that this is not really about digging through the policies. It's just more of an explanation for me of why I don't find a lot of those discussions to be productive. Because, like, to say have an open mind, right? The person who's talking to you has to have an open mind, as well as the person who's listening. And that fundamentally often doesn't happen. Because there are times when you and a person can have a discussion about a topic. You both have knowledge about the topic. You both have done your research on that said topic. And then you just don't agree. And some people can't accept that. I had a friend that used to come over to my house 2016, 2017. He would bring me, books and books of research about Trump, actually, right? And he would show me, he would spend hours talking to me about him, actually. Check out this policy. Check out Obama's policy on this. Check out Trump's policy about this. Check out this thing that Obama did. Check out the reason. This is why Obama has the most blood on his hands than any president in the history of the United States. And I would listen to him. I looked at those resources. I looked at those things that he presented to me. But it was like that conversation was just never ending. And the only way that the conversation would have ceased or come to an end is if I said, I unanimously agree with everything that you have stated here. That's the only way that that's the only way that conversation was going to end. There was never going to be an agree to disagree. And the other thing is, he didn't even care that I agreed with some things of what he was saying, because he wanted me to agree with everything. That's not me. And there's no leader of the free world that I'm ever going to unanimously agree with. Ever. It's just not ever going to happen. there's nobody that's going to present a policy to me. I'm going to say this is foolproof. Because policies are ideas. And we don't know how those ideas are going to pan out until we try them. Now, can we look at those ideas and say, I think that this one is better than the other? Listen, I feel like I would have such a more enjoyable time talking to somebody who strongly supports a party if they talked from that perspective of more like, when I stack these two ideas together, the reason that I think this idea is better than that idea is because of this, but I acknowledge that we could try that and it could not work out. But my opinion is this one is better than this one because of that, rather than this is stupid, this is smart. This person is for us and this person is against us. I think each of them are for themselves to a large degree. There's a lot that comes, I mean, there's stress and pressure, obviously, that comes with being the POTUS, right? So there's no denying that. There's perks that come with it as well. And there's no denying that either. So these people don't just get into these spots to be our hero. I think that's naive. I think that's naive to think that. I always appreciate the conversation. Thanks, Mark. Hi, Mark. Have a good day. Hi, Lewis. Thanks, Lisa. I changed my mind and support depending on things I learned and debunked and believe will help move things forward. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's not everyone who's just uneducated on the policies. But I guess the one other thing is to clarify for anyone who just felt like what I was saying yesterday was just meant to be Trump bashing. I make jokes about everything. I make jokes about Harris. I made jokes about Obama, him. I mean, that's just kind of how I managed to get through a difficult life, right? So it actually wasn't really Trump bashing per se. It wasn't Trump bashing per se. But what am I trying to say here? I lost my train of thought. Something I was gonna say. Maybe it'll come back to me. It's hard when I'm talking to someone who doesn't want to bend on their thoughts and all, and just want to stick to their team because it's not a debate. You have to stick to one side and not budge. And that's pretty much what I feel like I experience. I like for a debate to be like, you know what? There was something that I heard one time before that said, if you get to the end of a debate and you won, then nothing was accomplished. Because essentially, somebody was getting into this discussion with the goal of getting you to flip your mindset to agree with everything that they said. Then it's not really a debate. And then, even if you got them to agree, it could be someone like me who's like, I'm just going to tap out. because you're not trying to explain, or you're not trying to speak and listen. You're just trying to speak me into submission. And I'm probably going to exit the conversation like, yeah, you right, you got it. You win. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. When I was talking to him yesterday, when I was talking about him yesterday, it wasn't really with an emphasis on bashing his policies. I don't even think I really got much into his policies. It was to say the way that he talks. Let's just say his policies were impenetrable, perfect policies. You know, the thing that I'm saying doesn't exist, and it does not exist. But let's just say he's the biggest genius on this planet, came up with the best policies ever existed. He says things like that. I've done the most of this. I'm the best at this. I've There's the least of this happening since I've been president. I'm the most skilled. I'm the best at this. Whatever. He says he's someone who says things like that a lot. So let's say all of that is true, right? My complaint about him yesterday was about him being so divisive. And you can tell me, like, oh, I used to think that, and then I stopped listening to the sound bites, right? I can accept that if you're talking about a policy. But certain things, if you say them, you said them. And there's things that he said that I can't even say on my channel because my video would get demonetized. I mean, I read about this guy saying on his first day he's gonna release some of those rioters from prison. Why? No, there was wrong on both sides. Like, he encourages the behavior that I'm so against. I told you, some of these areas that I go into for work have these Trump flags flying all over the place. And the way those people look at me when I walk through those towns, the way they treat me when I go in the store, I stop at the gas station. It's disgusting. Whatever side wins, we lose. I just feel that way. I don't know. I hate to say that, but that's how I live our life. It's Tuesday. Tuesday was just Tuesday. They're not gonna pay our bills. Allegedly. I want the people who feel strongly about these policies regarding that to come back 6 months, let's say 6 months to a year, and tell me about how the cost of living has gone down. Because allegedly that's one of the things that there's a huge plan in place about the cost of living to go down. Because my cost of living stays going up. I went to the grocery store the other day, and it doesn't matter which president is in office. It stays going up. The electricity bill, the light bill, rent, everything is going up. Groceries. We can agree on to disagree on that one. He gets to the point. Yeah, I strongly disagree on that one. Reposters are the divisive ones because it's someone they liked. Nobody I've liked has said those words, so that doesn't apply to me. Somebody I liked said those things, I wouldn't like them anymore. I am not that. Anyone who knows me knows that I am not that. I said it yesterday. I'm not a fan of any of these men or women that hold these positions. I am not their fan. I'm not going to show up to a rally to cheer for them. I have never been to one of those rallies. I will never go to one of those rallies. What's the point? What is the point? And it puts my safety at risk. Musk said he's ready to tighten up funds. 10% of the wealth in the world belongs to like a very small amount of people. Hold on. I think it's actually the other way around. 90% of the wealth belongs in the hands of like 10%. 10% of the people. So, have you seen his net worth? And how much it's gone up since becoming president? I guess that doesn't matter to a lot of people. People stand politicians, and they really do. It is why I watch reality shows more than politics, because reality shows are controllable environments, and the things that we debate about are simple. They're going to play this game. The winner is going to get $1,000,000, $750,000. We can debate about the right or the wrong way to get it. Conversations that people had, and whether we think that those conversations are off the wall, off the charts. People we think that should be banned from the competition in the house, whatever. Those are simple things, but there's people out there, when you start listening to stories, when you stop focusing on just the bullet points and the facts, and you start listening to the stories of the people that are impacted by some of these policies, you realize it's not that simple. Yeah, I'm not wearing your merch. I was saying that yesterday too. I'm not wearing your merch. Not putting your sign in a poster or wall, and that goes for Democrat, Republican, whoever. If the person I voted for comes out and starts saying some wild stuff that I don't agree with, I'm gonna be like, why did I vote for you? What's happening right now? What's happening right now? It's like getting into a relationship and the person tells you like, "Oh, when I get with you, I'm going to be somebody who pulls out the chairs for you. I'm going to get you extravagant Valentine's Day gifts. Over the next 4 years, I'm going to figure out how we're going to live in a house together, and it's going to be 4 stories, and it's going to have 10 bathrooms. Like, I'm promising you the world." So when I get in, am I just going to be like, you know what? Even though this stuff is not happening, I believe in your plan, so I rock with you. because it's better than this other person. No, I'm going to be paying attention to what you're doing continuously, evaluating, reevaluating. My thing is, I know that there's people who are very, 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 very deeply into politics, and I understand that. But when I think about who I want as a leader, I do think about personal traits, not just what looks the best on paper. I do put that as a factor. If somebody that I don't trust gives me a lot of valid points, I don't care because I don't trust them. Like, to use my example, to use an example of my workplace, which I use at the beginning of this live. If a person I trust is in leadership, we're going to have really honest conversations. We're going to get things done. Some things are going to fail, some things are going to succeed, but the point is, I believe that this person has the best interests of myself and the population that we're serving at heart. So I'll ride for them. If they make a mistake, it's okay. Like, we can fix it. We can try another strategy. I trust you. We can work towards this goal. If I don't trust you, none of that's happening. You can't lead me if I don't trust you. That's my whole point. That was the whole point of what I was trying to say. Now, obviously, that's just my opinion. I'm one person. There's other people, there's millions of other people, obviously, who trust our president. That's why he now became elected for the second time, because he had the majority of the voters, and there's people across the globe, millions and millions of them, who do trust him. I don't. So that's the reason why the policy debates, like, we could dive into those, but it's like, even when you start debating policies, there's only so much of it that is fact, and there's a lot of the rest of it that is, I like the guy or the person, so I'm going to find the things that support this person that I like. I've never been to a rally for anyone or put up posters either. But back in the day, I would help my family put up political signs for liberals in the neighborhood. It wasn't a combo that warranted back and forth then. No one cared, and we all understood that politicians. But now we don't understand that. Seems like being open-minded to some is just them passive aggressively trying to get you to feel differently than you do. Not true, Cass. I know you're talking about me. No merch is like putting your no soliciting signs unless it's Amazon, UPS, FedEx deliveries. That's how you do our research. That's why some do their research. It might be more. This is one of the. I feel like this is one of the laziest eras when it comes to doing research, because there's ad campaigns put out by the different parties. If you turn on your TV, I mean, I know a lot of people don't watch cable TV anymore, but even if you don't have cable TV, if you have like apps that have ads in between, you don't want to vote for Kamala Harris. She did this, she did that. Don't vote for Donald Trump because he did this, he did that. They'll have like 10 bullet points that they'll just keep circulating. And they pay for this stuff to circulate. So this is what the majority of the people are hearing. I don't believe that the majority of America does a legitimate amount of research before they make votes. I don't believe that. I said this yesterday. I don't believe that. I really don't. It wasn't about you, Lisa. It was about the Trump worshippers and the liberals who attack slash blame third party voters. I remember I remember last election I said something about Bernie Sanders, like something I liked about something Bernie Sanders said regarding socialism. People were killing me for that. And I was like, I mean, that's what I grew up with. I know it's not perfect, obviously. No system is perfect, but I actually grew up under that system. So I could see some of the things that he was saying making sense, and they cooked me like I said something crazy. What was sad is some Gen Zs had issues voting. I believe that, and I've also mentioned this before. Amendments, that Constitution is the reason why I'm like, when I hear "Make America Great Again," I'm offended when I hear that. I'm like, again? Because if we're going back to the time when these people considered it great, who was it great for? That's the question that I have. Who was America great for when it was considered great? That's a rhetorical question, I guess. Because I know when a lot of people loved America the most, I know what was going on in America that made them feel like it was great. And I don't want to go back to that. I definitely don't want to go back to that. Anyways, y'all, what time is it? 1:46. I have a little bit of break left. Appreciate you taking the time to listen. I don't think that I'm going to make another video about this. But I thought that it was important to just clarify my thoughts. Everyone takes it right to what you're talking about, but that's something the left created. It was not created. I'm not even going to dive into that statement because I'm not going to even assume what you're talking about because I just know what I was talking about. And it's not created. It's actually factual. Um, but yeah, please make sure like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm going to try to get that challenge video out. I watched the episode yesterday. It was a good episode. And it was bad then too. We'll talk soon.